Mk3 Cortina City for another fleet maintenance video by popular demand. The muscles from Brussels is back. Pete at the controls. He doesn't really do anything anymore. He does. Richard is fitting some new clips for Cortina G today, folks. New clips for, if you can get it in, they are tight. Are they popping out?
No, just adjustment.
We've tidied up the engine bay on Tina G. It needed a freshen up. We had a brake fluid reservoir explosion many years ago which ate into the inner wing paint. So what we've done, we've rattle canned up. Here's our rattle can here. Yeah, it is. We've got this, in our case it's Ford Fern Green. That with a lacquer. We've scotch padded the inner wing back. We've got a wiring loom to fit. This wiring loom is 90s technology when I was just a young boy, and I didn't build a loom to the standard I would these days, but it's got me through. This whole car's got me through since 1992. Then Peter's owned this car. Some viewers, it's possible, weren't born even then, making me feel old. But this has got me through hell and back, and it'll do it again. It'll just, you can take this car out, Richard. You can bang nails in it with it all day, and it'll come back and shoot dead on target every time. Look at that, that's a great little car, ain't that, honey? That's a great little car. I can get your Cadillac with a pink slip for £2 grand. You want a Cadillac, pink slip, £2 grand? Orange whip. Who wants an orange whip? You want three orange whips? Want an orange whip? 3 orange whips. There's 2 films in one. But can you get those quotes? Can you get those film quotes? We'll go through them again. This car, you can take it out and bang nails in with it all day, and it'll come back and shoot dead on target every time. Look at that, that's a great little car, ain't that, honey? You want a Cadillac? Get your Cadillac with a pink slip for £2 grand. You want drugs, uppers, downers, mescaline, meths, methamphetamine, crystal meths, anything like that, I can get you that. Look, I had this lovely little handmade holster made, and I'll walk you down. How much for everything? And I'll walk you down. He's off. He's off again. 3 orange whips. All the orange whips. Can we talk about the car, please? Right. So engine bay got treated up to about here. This was all destroyed. The paint here. These brake lines weren't nice, so Rich made some new ones. And then we put a new proper girl in reservoir on it. Had the Land Rover reservoir on, which are okay actually, but its seal had gone. Even though it was new, its seal had gone. So we ended up putting this rebuilt one on from Brakes. Who did that? There's a company do these rebuilds. You've got to supply them your old master cylinder, but they do a great job. Do you know?
Big Red.
No, Big Red do the calipers. They're good as well. No, it was something Brakes did these. I'll have to look it up. They rebuild those. So it's stainless steel sleeve on it, and then we use the Easy Bleed kit to bleed the brakes through with the new lines. Alternator bearing, I've just noticed it's on its way out. We'll put this on the Krypton machine as well. We've already had it on, but we're going to Krypton you up on this video because I don't think we filmed that. So we'll chuck Tina on Krypton for you. Krypton's good just to do some system tests. It will basically show us even cylinders, voltage, battery charge, stuff like that. It's a bit of fun. You can do it with a multimeter if you want to save yourself a lot of hassle, but no, the Krypton's there for effect, and also it is useful. I'm not saying it's not. It's does some great analysing work. It's nice to just chuck a car on the Krypton, so we'll do that as well. Engine wise, this needs the valve stem seals doing. We've got part of the tool for it. I think, is this the right tool, Richard?
This is the tool.
Yeah, we've got this. We're going to be doing the stem seals on this, but we need to make an air compressor unit adapter to go into the spark plug hole. The theory is that you park your valve as high up as you can, put compressed air into the cylinder, then use this to push the valve thingy down. Is it the valve thingy?
Valve spring down.
Valve springy. Thingy?
Valve springy dingy.
And then we can do the stem seals. We'll talk you through that if you want to do it at home. Stem seals on this have gone brittle. Okay, so we're getting smoke on start up. Good engine though, runs as sweet as a nut. We've done a heater conversion, which is a great conversion, whereby we replace, keen viewers take note now of the heater. Look, you get this extra dome here. What we've done is we've put a bigger motor in off a Yaris. You have to chop out all the inside. You can only do it with a plastic housing. Whilst this looks fiberglass, it's actually mock. I actually used fiberfill to mock it up, one of Richard's expert touches there. So I always find the heater motors on these very droney, if you will. It's a kind of drone noise, and they've not got a lot of torque, and they don't push the air through as good as what they should do. So I like to replace the motor on that. Now, in strictly speaking, you should also upgrade the feed to it, because this cable does struggle with the current induced, and I'm keeping my eyes on that plug. On Bramble, it's got a different connector. It's actually this connector hollowed out with the wires, big thick wires pushed through it, and it actually makes a sort of false connector. But it's actually, see, with this gauge of cable, there's nowhere you can go, and you can't solder onto the plug because the plug pins themselves can't take the current, so you actually end up cooking the plug pins. So the only way you can do it if you really want max current is to actually not have this plug and drill straight through it, connect it together so it looks like a plug, but the cable continues all the way through, and then you have Lucas inside, which is what I did on Bramble. On this one, this motor will go another third faster if I was to upgrade that plug. At the moment, it's pretty adequate. It's doubled the speed, which is good. If you want to be greedy and get like turbo power, you'd upgrade that cable, which would mean a new loom build. There is another way you could do it. You could put a relay in and take a wire to your battery and do it that way. Although you would lose your slow speed if you did that, because the relay is capable of switching on at about 6 volts. So you'd have to come up with a volt switch adapter to do your half speed. That is a topic for another day. Suffice to say that we did upgrade that motor and refurbish the heater box. What else did we do? Clean the air pan, that was a bit damaged. And we've flushed through. It's got new plugs and points. Electronic ignition's been fitted to this one. That's using the AccuSpark system, which is great. It hides inside your distributor cap. You don't even know it's there. That's good. We have, as I said, a new wiring harness to build for this because it's got overspray on it. It's old, it's tatty. It was never wrapped in the Ford grey. And as I said, in those days, I wasn't really going for that level of detail. It was all about keeping your car on the road. You know, this was a daily. It still is a daily. So it's been a daily all my life, more or less. It had a period of time where it was long-term stored. Also had a period of time where it was out getting covered in dust, bricks, and a JCB hit the back quarter on it once, late 90s. It's had a new quarter on the back. Me and Richard have also Raptored it, so it's got some Raptor, colour-coded Raptor under the arches here. You can see that. So we wire brushed back and gave it a wax oil, a Raptor. We've gone through some rust on it. It's had its rust issues over the years. And these sills I put on in 93 or 94 when I first got the car. It was rotten in the scrapyard, this car. Got it out of the scrapyard. And they've held out. They held out because they were absolutely blasted in wax oil when I did the job in the 90s, and it paid off. And from time to time I would re-wax, and indeed you can see some's trickled out there. See, the key to keeping your Cortina alive is wax oiling regularly. See, on these door corners have survived. There's slight blistering going on here, look, but it's not had a dip and a full rebuild like I've done on the other projects. Door handles just got replaced at the back because the springs had gone on those. I was lucky enough at the NEC to get a one for this side. This has also had a new boot floor, by the way. It's a complete new floor pan it had. That was in the mid-90s. Here, plenty of wax pouring out, all in the boot. You can see the boot lid. And here's a new door handle. We've just fitted that today. This seat, these are original seats at the bottom and the back, but the top section of the seat where the heat damage gets it, that's been recently retrimmed by Martrim. I've done that centre section there. Door cards are original. The rest of the car's original. It has got the latest MP3 system in it, which is an Alexa system. I'm going to talk you through that exciting Alexa system soon. This door card just got back on because, boom, we fitted that door handle, and now Nice. That wants a little bit, maybe a slight adjustment. Well, there could be the back rubbers, but anyway, we're lined up. And that nice spring action on the door handle, because that's what happens. These break. I'll show you how they break. There's not much you can do to repair them. Over here we go to see the damage on the door handles. These are always worth buying if you see them. Don't outbid me, because I'm trying to buy them all up. Right, let's see, where can we go? Do you want us to get that door handle out, Richard? Show the folks at home about door handles on Cortinas. It's a very common fault. Now, are we right in saying Mark II Escort is the same if you don't get the satin black one?
Yeah.
Or Granada, possibly.
Mark I Granada, possibly.
Right, so there's the handle. This is what happens. It has a spring at this end. And this, that you can see just here, would normally be a circular piece of metal which goes round there and it pivots. So you get spring action there. And what happens is, this Masic type metal snaps, so you get a rattly door handle. It'll still work, you can still open your door, but it just rattles around. It's not nice. Also, these tend to pit. You can see indeed this is beginning to pit. I believe now S&T Chrome can refurbish these in terms of the pitting, but trying to weld or fix this, I don't know how you do that. So that happens a lot. It's a shame they don't just sell that as a repair piece, that on its own as a repair piece. You could possibly do something with that, but I mean, it's easier at the moment at least to buy ones when they come up new old stock. I was lucky enough at the NEC recently to find one. Now we go over to Dash building. A little tool is being made. What are you doing? Filing pliers down, using them as what we've got on a plan?
So they fit in the slot.
Yeah, instead of using my socket idea. I like my socket idea.
It's alright, it's just going to be a lot of work.
There's a socket idea here. What we're doing the dashboard at the moment, and the little securing rings that hold your switches on, these ones, to get your dash hockey sticks off, I'll show you in a sec, need a little tool just to engage into the slots. If you use pliers, you crunch the edge of your lovely, we've got new old stock ones, the edge of the securing rings, and they get marked. So Richard's done the long nose pliers technique. I was going to do a socket with nibs burred out of it that slotted into all three. I still think my idea is the best though, Rich. There you go. So we're doing that, and I'll show you why we're doing that. Dash is out because of Chinatown LED bulbs. Don't buy these Chinatown LED bulbs, especially this configuration here that you've got. Reason not to buy them is they will fail. They just fail. They're rubbish. They're no good. They fail. Here's the hockey stick that's faulty. Yeah, the Chinatown LEDs are no good. Don't get them. Get Philips ones. Right. Look, we've got it's lost all its chrome on the hazard light. That needs replacing. The hockey stick snapped at the bottom here, so we need to refurbish that because everything else is nice and tidy. This hockey stick lets the car down. Okay, so we'll do that. Get that hockey stick replaced. They're a bit of a pain to do, to be fair, because they have these super glued on back securing tabs which are notorious for breaking. So you've got to get that done. But this is a hockey stick off an XL, so it has to have the hole drilled for the hazard light switch. Hang on, let's get that overexposure done. There we go. Has the hazard light switch hole reshaped or drilled. And then here's a new hazard light chrome. It's not blacked. That's good. Circuit board here is damaged on the clocks. Look, we have got some new old stock circuit boards, but they're for the earlier instruments where the speedo, the rev counter and the clock was actually swapped round later on. So 71 cars are opposite to this. 71 cars have this time clock on the left and the rev counter on the right, which is what these circuit boards are for. Later in 72, due to customer complaints, customers like to have seen the rev counter more prominently than the clock, because on the right there you don't see that instrument as good. So they preferred the rev count. That was based on customer feedback. So they swapped the instruments round in 72. So that means I can't use these 71 circuit boards on to repair this. We're going to have to come up with another plan. This is pretty knackered. I did have a plan of using this and then swapping the actual connectors with some jump leads across. It's easier than trying to fix that, so I'm on with that. Interestingly and curiously, the first time I've seen it, this has got a radio suppressor on the voltage regulator. There's your voltage regulator, which is basically a bimetallic strip that pings off and on, that gives you an average voltage of about 6 volts. In other words, if 12 volts is on a duty cycle 50-50, you get 6 volts. Well, that creates radio interference on some instances. I've never heard it on ones without a suppressor, but it could happen. So Bolton Braces, they've suppressed this, because this car had the radio kit fitted. When they did that, they fit the suppressor there, they fit the suppressor on the point, and they fit the suppressor on the alternator pack. They've since gone missing on this car, but it would have had that radio suppression kit fitted in the 72 version. 71 didn't have the kit fitted. Again, it was customer feedback. Well, you got that component. You can put a solid state regulator on here, in which case you don't need the suppressor. The solid state doesn't create any radio interference. Any set of electrical points, any electrical switch creates a radio signal when it's operated. That was how they actually discovered radio, by operating a spark. A spark will make a radio signal. Not sure what frequency it is. I think it's long wave that you pick it up on, but you know that if you've got your radio on and you spark something across the battery, you'll hear it crackle on a certain tuned in part of the radio. I think on long wave, or certainly long or medium wave anyway. FM perhaps not. So lots of little jobs going on. Trying to think if there's anything else we've done. We've freshened up the exhaust manifold there with just some actually dark grey VHT, which we prefer. It lasts out a few thousand miles and you have to redo it. You can get those ceramic coated. In this case we haven't done it. I would like to just take the paint off these bolts at some point and put new bolts on so you can't tell we've been in with a spray can. But this is an everyday runabout that we wanted to get just looking something like clean and tidy. Obviously not concourse. I may upgrade these lamp lenses to the proper lens. Indeed, we've got a rattle there. We'll attend to that. These are the Autopal flat lenses. They're very good, by the way, to replace your tired silvered lenses, but always keep your original domed glass if you ever do it. Never throw those domed glasses away, the Lucas domed glasses that come with these. On a GXL they would have halogen written on them. Often that's worn off. If you're lucky, you can find some new old stock Triumph Stag ones or Cortina ones with the halogen still intact. You can actually remove the glass and put new backs on them if you want. You get new old stock lamps you wouldn't need to. Most of the time when you find these lamps with the halogen intact, the back silver's gone through storage. So what I do, I get the Autopal units, which aren't expensive, they're about 15 quid each, and I break the glass off here, and then I take the glass off the damaged silvers of the original Cortina Lucas and silicone them on, so you actually end up with a sort of hybrid lamp that looks correct, because this glass is very flat and the original ones are more domed out with the halogen logo and the Lucas coding on them. Just makes a nice finish. That will be done on this car. Trying to think if there's anything else we've been doing. We did do a repair on the lower valance that had some rot on it, so this has been repainted and re-Gravitex. In fact, I think we used... Did we grab? Yeah, we gravied and painted over on this. So you get that. It's got stone guard on the front. It's held out nicely, but it did have some rot in the middle. It wasn't worth replacing the whole panel at this stage, so we've repaired that, skimmed it in, put the reg plate back on, painted it. Bumper was off for that job. When the bumper was off, I re-injected with wax again. You can see it coming out. So it is general maintenance on Tina G. It is my daily driver. I've sold my Ford Mondeo. So this is my daily driver. We would like to...
Stereo, do you want to update?
Yeah, the stereo update. We'll talk about that shortly when I get the mobile phone out of Ruby. We'll show you out of Ruby. This system now, it's not got the Alexa unit in it yet, but this is almost ready to receive our Alexa in-car. But we've made the radio ready to receive it, and I'll talk about that later on in the day, about how this great new in-car voice-activated system works in conjunction with my existing MP3 modification that I made to the radio. I'm going to talk you through that. It's a completely original radio, P21, but it's all singing, all dancing technology with the original radio as well, so you don't lose the electronics of your original radio, so you can tune in to long wave and medium. use it as a normal radio, but when you press one of the magic buttons, it then becomes an all singing, all dancing Alexa controlled system, which is really good because you can just, if you want to, you can just have your mobile phone in the glove box out of sight, and that radio will do sat nav. It'll do all your tunes off the cloud or off your Amazon account, whatever system that you're on. For Alexa, it's Amazon, and I'm on, so I have Amazon Music, unlimited music, and I can access all my music by not having to touch anything and just voice control the whole lot. If you've got an unlimited data card in your phone, unlimited SIM, it's better because it can chew the data, but that'll also play MP3 sticks. I'll show you it all running when we're ready because it'll take a little bit of explanation. We're going to continue on now for a bit. That was a long take. You know what? I've just rambled for 20 minutes non-stop. Who can go on for 20 minutes uncut, unedited? And Richard has to listen to it. Let's see how he's doing with his pliers. You see the trouble with Richard. I've got to turn Barry White off. The great Barry White has to go to see the trouble with Rich. He's too into his Cortina. The trouble with Rich. What are you doing to me? Leave my gear stick alone. Richard's removing the gear shift change on Tina G. Why? Because there's a bushing gone and the T-shifter selector stick is slopping around a bit like Scott's porridge oats. Are you struggling to extract said device?
Yes.
It should. It should extract. We've got to fix this, folks. Oh, centre console. Can it be juggled without a centre console removal? Before you do that, let me turn the side lights off. There we go. Yeah, that's what's going to happen there. I don't know. I've never done it without centre console removal. It's a cheat. Can it be done? We don't know. It can be done. Lower support bracket there, T-shifter coming out. Let's have a look at that T-shifter. Multitasking again on these fleet maintenance vids. Pete's fixing the dash. Look at the dash. Richard takes over filming just for a second. We'll have a little busman's break with the T-shifter while I show you how to repair a dash. Keep your eyes on that screen if you know what I mean. It's the Alex Jane brain game. Okay, making up little jumper leads. What's happened is the circuit board's broken away. Should look like this. Very nice indeed. If only we could use this. We can't because this is the one which is the clock and the rev counter are the wrong way round. Later they were swapped. This is a later one. Therefore, so what happened? The plastic broke away. Current got through it, melted. Sometimes by accident something can touch the back of the dash when you're messing with it. You could have the lights on when you're doing the job, whatever it is, and you melt wires. Or over time you just break away. So what I've done, I've super glued this sandwich back together. This is two pieces of plastic sandwiched together with copper tracks between. Indeed, you can see it lifting there. That'll have to be fixed. Look, breaking apart before your very eyes. Here I've glued down to stop any further breakage using some gel super glue, and then exposed each copper track with solder, and then I'm having to make linker wires between each track. It's precision work. I'm using 8-core alarm cable and my nails to strip. My fingernails are fixed. That one that got ripped out, it's nearly grown back now. I lost an entire nail in a fan blade of a Cortina. Caught it and extracted the nail. That was very painful. It took nearly a year to fix. It's still having a go. It will get there in the end. Right, tinning up. Tinning up. Never steady hands as I used to have. Shaking all over the place these days. Tin the ends of those. We'll only do the one wire for this. It's the booze that makes you shake, Rich. Right, so...
What lack of?
Yeah. Yeah. On this goes. It's on. It's got it. So now, holding it there, twisting around to the corresponding track. They're all in line. That's a little long. Whoops, we lost it at that end. This is a little long. Take it down. Lost it at that end. That was probably not tinned up properly. I'll show you what I mean. Clean the end of the iron. That probably didn't tin in. It will now. There we go, it's got it now. Now I haven't turned properly. You can usually tell if it's turned, it goes a shiny colour. In this goes then. Can we do it? We're in there, tuck it, that's a good fix. Round we curl and then pick up here. It's a bit tight now, it's getting a bit tight here. Should be able to get it if Pete's nerves can stay steady. But it doesn't look like he can so far. He's in. Right, so that's it. So we do 2 more and then that, I'd probably put the glue gun on there. Just, that's where glue gun would work quite nice. There's no woodwork here, it's all plastic. Right, back to this. That dash will be fixed and the LED lights will go in. I shall demo the LED lights because they're Philips ones. T-shifter, common problem on your automatic then. This will be, you're all going to experience this, I'm afraid. All you auto lovers out there. That bushing can be, you can get to it, this rubber bung, but side plate in the shifter, lots of, look at that. So we are rocking on this bush here, are just not nice and secure. In fact, you probably see it better if I lay it on the floor. It's that point here. You can see the play just, let's stabilise ourselves up. Sideways play, there it is. So that whole thing's rocking, making for sloppy change. Or at least not a nice positive action, it's just wobbling about. So we're going to have to open this up and see if we can repair it. We don't know what we're going to do yet. Some kind of brass or bush insert. Let's take it apart and see what it's made of. See you in a sec. Well, here's the fault with the T-shifter. The centre bushing, pivot bushing is there, that's what's left of it. You can just see it there, it's a kind of Teflon-y plastic material, gone, shot to pieces. So we didn't have one. You can probably get that because this T-shifter is used in many cars. It was right across the Ford range of autos. But we've used a plastic bottle and it was too thick in the main body of the bottle, but Richard noticed that where it's pressed to make the shape, the curved shape of the plastic bottle, the wall thickness slightly thinner, just enough where we cut a strip like this and then curved that round and inserted it in, and that gave us a bushing insert out of an old plastic bottle. It's pretty tough plastic that, so I imagine that'll last quite a while. So that stops the side to side. The wobble, look at that wiggle, just look at that wiggle. So that fixes that, half as bad. In fact, I don't think you'll get.
There's none.
No, there's no movement. So we're better there. So we'll put that back in the car. So you could fix that on your car if you use a bottom of a plastic bottle. This could be anything like these 5-litre drums, or done in this case, we don't know what that was. Curiously, what was shaped? That's not my new old stock washer bottle we've cut up, is it? I bought one from the NEC not long ago. Yeah, you can use bottles the right type, but we used it where there was a patch on it where it's actually thinner, as I said, because this was just slightly too thick, and as you knocked the bushing in, kept punching it back out again. So you can see here's some previous attempts, look. And it's critical. It's one of those fittings, those interference fits, where it's actually 1/10 of a mil critical. So we just hit lucky with that plastic and made our own sleeve. So that should last us. There's an inspection bung or an access bung you just take off there. We'll put that back, give it a degrease, and pop that back in the car. I'll carry on with this. I'm nearly done. I'm just metering out now on these repair patches, these patch lead repairs. So far I'm halfway through and they're all metering through. Okay, I'll carry on building the dash up. My time clock on the doesn't keep good time. I've got another one that I've previously calibrated, so I'll be fitting that as well. Then the LED bulbs will go in, which are these, the Philips ones. Extreme Ultinon, they're the red ones actually, but I'm actually that type anyway, Philips range of bulbs for the general illumination. A lot better than our Chino Town, it'd never work. We'll be right back. Let's give this a degrease and a clean up. Get the T-shifter back in. hockey stick, new, well, refurbed hockey stick going in. Because that was broke. They always come off at the bottom there, and then you catch them with your leg and snap the bottom piece. Anyway, that should be good. I'm going to try and find the tool which we used to put the knurled nuts back on for the switches. I'm going to rebuild this clock assembly here. Just dusted it out. It was a bit dusty inside. Other than that, it's clean. Perspex ain't the best, but we ain't got one. So another later job will be to fix Perspex, but we haven't got one. So that is it. I've had to hard solder that one there because the copper contacts had gone, so that's hardwired. LED bulbs go in. These are the ones I was talking about before. Use these. They're called well, these are warm white, which is better than the cool whites. Okay, extreme ultranon LED, and they will serve you for life, not the Chinatowns which you'll end up flickering around. I suppose you can get some Chinatowns will work, but I don't like them. 2 nuts to undo, clock to go back in. Hopefully this clock will perform better. This one didn't keep time, and also the contacts were loose. Sometimes you had to tap it, and you know what? The time I spent on these clocks, you'd think that Tina G would have a good one. Well, it has now. Rich is looking for the tool. We're going to get all this back together. We have new lamps to fit in because the chrome had gone. Look at the old lamp, you'll see why. Faded, but that can be re-chromed, so we keep that to get re-chromed. You take the little red bezel out, that pops out, then you can get that vacuum metallized in Birmingham and make that brand new at the front. We'll get that done. See you in a sec. Here's an annoying OCD thing. Whilst I'm on the clocks, my rev counter on Tina G is in good order, but look at the sellotape at the back of the little lenses. See how the sellotape's distorted over time? That creates a kind of wrinkly effect on your indicator. So I like to take that sellotape off and reapply new sellotape. WD-40 cleans the disc up. These are coloured discs at the back for your indicator and your high beam. So I just put new sellotape on it. WD clean up. Stops that wrinkle effect from the front. Gives you a bit more new look. We're going to do that now. He's down on the floor again. Now what are you doing? Tell us all about it, Richard. Are you telling me my SPAX shock absorber's burst? It's all part of routine maintenance. You sure that's not wax oil?
Fancy all in there. Dripping out. Empty now.
Empty?
No oil left in it.
Why not just put some engine oil in it or something? Wow.
EP90.
Well, SPAX, I'm disappointed in you.
To be fair, it's probably the front springs that's done.
Right, okay. We were saying that the front springs collapsed, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
I fitted these about 10 years ago. Oh, let me see where. Yeah, there we are. Yeah. But I can take them out then, that means spring compressor.
Spring compressor.
That means nastiness. That means nastiness. But we've got a whole new set of springs to go on. -1s all round. I'll keep you busy for a bit.
Just a bit.
Yeah, I just got to feed that in right. So we've got. Let me get you a torch, folks. We've got the tool for compressing the spring here. So on all the other Cortina City videos, you're going to have to watch them to see. We're feeding the front end of the wishbone in to the clip, suspension cradle. Let it find its way in and line up. That's it. You need some more turn now on the tool. Okay, you're starting to approach, so I'll keep my eyes out there for you. I've got a poke with a screwdriver and just you can push back a little bit. Yeah, I always stick a bar behind. Should be alright. Right, okay, that's the way. might be a little high. If you find you're high, you're almost there. I'd come down one click, then stick your bolt through. You're almost there, Rich. I'd probably just drop a touch. That's it. Now you're in. Now you're in. Perfect. You're lined up.
Copping me up, right? Oh,
Cop you up. I'll give you a bit. I'll give you a touch.
Use a bit of copper.
Give you a touch. Take a bit of that. That's that. Wishbone bolt goes through. Ain't one light tap on there. That's why they pointed the bolts. I'm going to give Richard a hand. We'll be right back. We're reassembling with the new springs on. He wasn't happy with that side, so he's gone on to this side. I'm going to show you some tools that we're using once I've turned the radio down. Cher is doing a vocoder singing. I'm going to turn that down while we talk you through the tools needed to do your front spring change. We'll be right back. Okay, because the springs were saggy and weak and the shock absorber had shot itself, we've decided to get my mum's shock absorbers. My mum's bargain brand. Somewhere, there they are. Actually, KYB got a good write-up when I read about them. Ruby's Tina's not really mega sporty, it's more of a mid-range, so that's why we won't be fitting the adjustables on the front. We've got them on the back. There's a number of reasons. One, these are ridiculously expensive, and we're going to just, it's an experiment actually, just to see if the setting on a KYB standard suits my driving feel for this car that I want. Because if you've got those set halfway and that's equivalent to these, and you never adjust them again, then you may as well buy these. Depends where you want to be. I always thought it was too shocky at the front. So with that theory and a bust shock absorber anyway, and saggy springs, first get yourself your springs. These, hold on while the camera re-centers. These springs were from Rally Design, or actually off eBay, but I think they're similar to Rally Design's -1s. Cortina Mk3 -1 springs. Okay, get them. Then you need some WD-40, you need some copper slip. Now, name me the spanners, Richard. We've got 22, have we?
22, 17, 19.
22, 17, 19, not in that particular order.
13 for the bottom of the shack.
And a jack. 13 for the bottom of the shack. The jack? The jack. Also, you need this. Do you want to offer that to the camera, Richard? You can make one. We made this years and years and years ago. Bit of box section. Bit of old shocker tube at the bottom. That's for the top of the shock mount. And then this is high tensile threaded bar. This is from a spring compressor tool that was chopped up. Do not use normal thread. You must use specially high tension bolt thread. Then it's into a nut here. You can see it on the inside. This is homemade. There is a Ford tool you can borrow from the Mk3 Owners Club. If you're not in the club, join the club because it's only 20 odd quid. And you get to hire this if you want. So join Mk3 Owners Club, please. Here you have a sort of adapter which fits the bottom of the shock. At the bottom of the wishbone, sorry. And basically what this does, it simulates a shock absorber that's of a varying height. So you can squash your spring by tightening up this high tensile thread, and that squashes the spring out, allowing you to then remove all the bolts holding the wishbones on. Then by undoing the spring slowly, because you've undone all your ball joints and wishbone bolts, you can then start to let the wishbone lower itself out of the car completely free, under control with the threads. You then swap out the spring, then reverse procedure, compress it back up, then put your bolts back into your wishbone, and then you can then take this tool out and then reinsert the shock absorber. You may find that in some situations you've got to use the jack to help you just joggle things around a little bit, but most times it'll all go together. Probably the hardest bit is just getting your bolts to go through, like coming on, so I'll show you the bolt that I made. It's this one. There it is, this one. Where are we? Where are we? Hand in, Rich, because we have this terrible problem. Yeah, keep going, that way. I still can't see. Where's Richard's arm gone? The muscles and bustles have disappeared. It's impossible. There's too much muscle. Right, off you go. Right, yeah, there we go. We're on. that bolt can be a little bit tricky. So plenty of copper slip round there, folks, please, on the wishbone when you're entering the slot. Then a friend can help tell you when that's lined up, or you can use a screwdriver yourself and feel it in. So that begins to line itself up as you're on the compression tool going back up. Doesn't matter when you're coming out. That's the theory. It is covered in more depth on some of my build videos. This is a little bit brief. Richard's he's very expensive. He's against the clock. Actually works for free. And don't tell him I told you that. Off he goes. Get to work, and I'm doing. Hold on, Richard. We're narrating here. I'm doing a programmable intermittent delay for the wipers. A very clever device. There's a bulb here on the floor, and a very clever device that enables you to program a delay into your wipers very quickly. See that bulb flashing there? You can connect this relay into your wiring harness of your wiper motor of your standard Mk3 by connecting it the right way. Flick the switch quickly on your wiper and it'll go to intermittent, and then by holding the down, turning it off, then waiting, that the wait time that you turn it off determines the intermittent delay. Goes back to normal when you just do one quick flick of the switch. That's a programmable delay for intermittent wipers. I'll show you that in action in a minute. Sorry that it's all on the floor and on the mess, but look at my bench. It soon gets messy up here. How many times have you cleaned this bench up this week?
Lost count.
Keep putting him on there. And then when Richard does something wrong, we've got a laser pointer here, which is there. Where's that laser pointer? That will confuse the camera. We'll get to use the camera there. We've got lots of the noise going on. And then spotlight on the Wally. Spotlight on the Wally.
Yeah.
That one's a bit better, isn't it?
That one's a spare now.
And that one's not damaged, is it? But that one is. I believe him now. I wasn't sure about that at first, but I tend to think, yeah, we've got ourselves a bust. No, it is right. I thought I'd squirted some oil on it. I haven't. It was all collapsed. This was a mess. It was backwards. It was bottoming out over bumps, lad. It was that one.
Over bumps.
Aye, lad. Aye. Bottoming out over bumps, lad. Vector middling, like get your Eccles cakes in. And then the other viewers from like Australia and stuff like that, and like people from down south, they said, you know, do you put like your voice on for film like a neutral accent, you know, or do you talk in native tongue like? So I says, well, if I have to speak out, normally do day like this, not going to understand what fettling about, isn't it? And Richard would be working on tractors, and if the injectors were broke, he'd be going, hey, fix the injectors, you bugging, lad. Injectors, you bugging. Aye, fix them in. Steel girders, lad, steel girders, lad, steel girders. Aye. We digress. With the front springs done last night, we ran out of time, by the way, but I've took the car out with these springs, so -1s with the £235 springs, weight-wise. They were from eBay as a set of 4, which was the best deal. Slightly better than Rally Design's deal, and funnily enough, Rally Design's springs just disappeared off the site. I couldn't find them. If you put into Rally Design Cortina Mk3 spring, nothing comes up. They did do, and they disappeared. Anyway, I went on eBay and I found a set of these, and I think these are what Rally Design use. I think this is a common, it's quite a nice thickness spring. They call it Mk3 Cortina rear -1. So it's worked at the front. Let's have a look side on so you can see your ride height. -1 ride height then. Gone out over all the bumps. So basically my test that I do, if you can get your hand just in and it just rubs, that's about right. Okay? You don't want it where you can't get your fingers in. It starts getting too low then and you scrape your subframe. This is a good compromise ride height wise. Hand goes in, so -1 does the job on those springs. And the muscles from Brussels cannot keep away. He's back this morning, fresh as a daisy after a good 8 hours sleep and a shower. I got off those iron filings off him, and he's on with the back springs. And we can see straight away from this axle that I was wrong. Early axles didn't adjust, later axles did. I got it the wrong way round. It just shows you what I don't know about Mark III Ford Cortinas, Richard. Don't know what the hell I'm talking about. There's the serrated plates. They make him very happy. Now we can see from this, we'll be able to get an idea of the prop pitch as well, the nose to angle, although it is slightly different because it's a split prop on this, and the previous video, or indeed this video if I make a mammoth episode, would show us setting up a single prop on Ruby because of the A4 box negated a single prop. This standard setup has got the split prop. Personally, I think the split prop runs a little bit smoother. But again, the A4, you couldn't really do a split prop. It didn't seem to be the right way to go about it. So this is a rebuilt Fostec axle on the back of this car, and it's very quiet. Very good. It's the quietest axle I've got. Fostec did a great job doing that. So yeah, that's what's happening down there. It'd be interesting to see that angle. I mean, straight away I can see it pointing up, but it would do because it's a centre prop. It goes into the middle of the car. I'd love to know how they get that balance from the factory. And you can see, of course, from here the serrated plates are fitted. Look, we'll go right into them. And you'll see them there, serrated plates, for adjusting the angle of the pinion. And me and Richard were discussing about making adjustable top bar, link bars for Ruby. Because with the A4 box, we're right on the limit of adjustment on the serrated plates that we made. So if you made adjustable top link bars, you could get different angles. Down we go. Which it doesn't even give me a chance to move there. It's just done a Chris on me and dropped without me saying. That'd definitely wobble. That would definitely vibrate now. I'd have got the big wheel up at the Pleasure Beach.
The big wheel?
Yeah, the permanent one. Finally, the council saw sense. Right, here's the spring. Let's compare that to what's coming off, because do you know what, Richard? Oh. If these are the same that what's coming off, then we're achieving absolutely nothing. Could well be just exactly the same springs from Burton's. I don't know. I thought that I'd got -1s on here from Burton, making this activity absolutely pointless. No, we're lower, we're in, we're lower, we're in, we're lower, we're in. We're coming down the inch that we said. -1. There it is in black and blue. Black and blue. Okay, Richard, choose your weapons. Choose your weapons, boy. I always pick that one. I'd like to shrink wrap one more. I see. It's just because it looks like some wrapping. Are you one of them bubble poppers?
Yeah, I love it.
Do you? Yeah, I was never into that. Never really floated my boat, really. That and cling film. Wife's into it, like, but yeah, no, no, I never. Oh no, it doesn't. It just doesn't work for me. This. I don't know if it works for you at home. Oof! Oh no, it goes right through me. Just no. I just never. Oh! Now I can crack all my bones. I don't mind doing that. I can crack 15 cracks on my hands if you combine them all up. I'm trying to get to 20, but my knees crack, my feet cracks, my back cracks, my sternum cracks, my hands crack, my neck cracks, my ears crack. You wouldn't think you could crack your ears, but I can actually crack my ears. Ugh. Very satisfying. The most satisfying is spine crack. If you can invert your back and get your spine to crack all the way up, there's no better feeling in the world. No better feeling at all than that. Bit of bone crunching. And speaking of bone crunching, if Richard's not careful with his jack, I don't see any sign of axle. Oh, there are axle stands. I was going to say he'll be getting some. He has done it. He's put stands. I thought he was working. I thought you were barebacking it then, boy.
Yeah, the axle.
Bear. He's a bear. We cater for all tastes. I hear. Polybushed at the top. Posh round here. But standard shock absorbers. My mum's. Are they my mum's?
My mum's.
No, are you sure? They're not Spacks that are painted black, are they? Please.
No, my mum's.
Ryobis or Woodheads. Oh my god. No wonder. Mind you, this car handles alright, I was saying. It does lose traction though, doesn't it, on the back?
Yeah.
Wire brushes up for doing that, not your fingers.
Yeah, I've seen how shit it was.
Rubbish, it's a Cortina, isn't it? I'm going to get back to my electrics. I'll show you what I did. Now this relay, I've got one on the bench because I bought two. It does work. Here's the relay. You can Google this part number if you want. It's a wash relay, and that's not a pun. It's actually wash. I think that's German. Oh, that could be Vash. Could be Vash. So 723.3777-01 is the relay number. It does Google up, comes out with the Russians on it as a Russian make. Anyway, that is supposed to be a direct replacement, and probably is, for a car that would have intermittent already on it, and you just do relay for relay substitution. The idea with this relay as opposed to a normal intermittent relay is by controlling your stalk you can program the time delay on this by the nature of how long and off and on you operate the stalk. So if you do a long gap between off and on your stalk, what you call a mark space ratio if you want to be posh, that will set the amount of delay time. A quick flick on the switch would do like almost continuous. Now then, on the Cortina you don't have a intermittent selector point on the stalk, at least on a pre-facelift. So what you have to do is a bit of naughtiness. Because there's no position, you have to do it on the first click of the switch, and you've got to put a diode in to stop feedback. Because what happens is that on this, the self park on this tricks this and thinks that you're trying to switch it off and on the self park. So I've had to sort of put a diode in which blocks the return path for the self park so the relay doesn't get confused. I'm not going to go into the exact circuit diagram for that. I'll tell you why. I actually don't know what I did there. I kept trying it because he wasn't having it. He was doing odd stuff. But to keep it concise, it has a 12 volt feed which you can pick up on the bottom of this plug here on the switch section of the motor. There is a 12 volts present. It's a purple and white wire. There's a ground present you can tap into, which I have done. Then you need the switch input from your first position on your wipers, so the slow speed. That goes into the relay, and out of the relay comes a 12 volt signal, which goes to the slow blade, slow wire of the motor. You don't touch the fast speed, that's completely left alone. You cut the green wire, you interrupt it with this relay, and you then connect the switched output, sorry, the other side of the green wire, which is the other side of the switch, to the relay. But you lose self-park. You've got to disconnect the self-park and shove a diode across. Otherwise, you get problems with self-parking. Okay, it doesn't self-park. You've got to override it. What I'm saying is this. By cutting the green feed to the low speed and putting it through the relay, you lose the ability for the wipers to self-park. So you have to run an override diode in. That sounds crazy, but that's how it is, and I know that isn't a sufficient explanation for someone who, if they bought that relay, would be able to do it. So for that I apologise, that isn't my intention. I'm just showing you that that's what I've been up to. Okay, next we've got to rip the wiring harness out. I know I've just built that, but it doesn't matter, that's not the point. Harness has got to come out. Me and Richard will do that when the car is sat down. We've also got the stem seals to do. The stem seals on this are shocking, and also it's due a cam belt change. So lots going on. I'll show you, we'll talk you right through a cam belt change. Again, that's been covered on the films, but there's no harm in going over what we've already done for this reason. People may just be dipping into the films. There could be new subscribers. They've not gone through the back catalogue. No harm in going over it again. So we'll talk you through a cam belt swap. Richard's actually going to do it. We're going to let him narrate the cam belt swap. I'll just be filming. I'll ask him questions and we'll see what happens. We'll do it that way. Wiring harness won't take long to rip out, and then I can re-wrap it. Why are you ripping the harness out? Because it's all covered in black insulation tape from the 90s. It's also got overspray on it. The reason it's got overspray on it is that we didn't mind putting overspray on it at that time because we were doing a tidy up on the inner wings. We knew it was coming out, so it's thinners on some of the plugs, rewrap it with the proper Ford wiring harness colour-coded wire wrap, and that would complete most of the engine bay parts. There's an alternator to pick up. This is about to throw its hand in. That's showing me a flicking amp gauge, showing that the alternator's on its way out. I've checked the plug. It's not the plug. Would say that either the field windings are going or the diode pack's on its way out. On ACR alternators, I think this is ACR 17. They're well known for chucking diode packs. Diode packs at the back, there's the rectifier pack. They're well known for failing on these units. And it is running hot. And we've only just drove this car in, and that is warm. I don't trust that alternator. It looks like it's about to throw its hand in. So lots going on there. Managed to do a 12-minute non-stop take. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. If you've got the ability to do a continuous take, answers on the postcard please. Is that a good or bad thing? Alright, let's just go and just while we've been talking, let's see how much the Muscles from Bustles has got done in 12 minutes. Is there a spring on? Do we see springiness? What do we see down here? What do we see? What's going on down here?
Done.
Oh, right. See, the Muscles doesn't hang around. We're going to have to rename him. He's not really doing the gym anymore, but he's he could you squat lift that axle, Rich?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there you are, positive attitude, that's what we like. Very creative, we like that. Thicker anti-roll bar on this as well, by the way, if you notice, that's a Mark 5 anti-roll bar. Do you know what, I'm not so sure if this had anti-roll bar and I fitted it, or by this year they'd had the anti-roll bars, I don't know. Anyway, we digress. Copper slip those bolts, boy. Yes, it's always good to copper slip your bolts. I hope if you're at home and you're doing your restorations on your Mark 3s that you get yourself copper slip in a tub. Don't buy it in a tube and waste your money go and get it in bulk. Get yourself a good relationship with your motor factors. Find your local motor factor and you'll be surprised what goodies they've got for Mark 3s, 4s and 5s and other ancillary items. Springs are on. We're going to be sat nicely soon. Low, 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 low. How low can you go? It's actually easier to swap the springs on the non-cup cars, yes or no?
Yes.
Right.
Less to take off. It's not that they're easy, you just don't have to drop the anti-roll bar.
Yeah. The reason you would have to drop the anti-roll bar is the cups that secure the springs on the earlier cars are obscured by the anti-roll bar. But I don't even know if early cars with the cups actually had anti-roll bars, because I fitted them extra on. They might not have done. So anyway, that's irrelevant. Totally irrelevant. You can see the Fostec bracing plates on the back of the axle there. They just spread the load a bit because they're well known for weeping those. There we go. He'll probably end up putting the wheels back on soon, this guy. I won't want to get him on the cam belt next. I've got to rip a wiring harness out. Wish me luck with that one, Rich. I'm going to take the whole wiring harness out. Yeah, I'm going to need some help with that at some point. We'll be right back. PC, Cortina City. These are what do we call this series? I had a name for it. Oh, Fleet Maintenance.
Fleet Maintenance.
Wiring harness comes out. Wiring harness move out. Wiring harness move out. Let's go and see how it sits, because Richard has now put it back on its wheels. Are you happy about how it sits now compared
to... it's like Ruby now.
Okay.
Ruby.
In terms of, it's just level.
Just
Ooh, yeah. Now then, what a fix. Shall we roll this out across the fleets? Should Swampy get this treatment?
I think so.
That's nice. Whoa. Oh yeah. We're sitting nice. Can I do my OCD with a tape measure? I don't know. It doesn't always work. Where's the tape measure, Rick? In its home down here.
Top, second drawer,
second drawer, left hand side. Yes, I like that organisation skills. I do like that. Yes, yes, yes. Relock the gimbal. Richard. Now then, let's have a see. Let's have a look what we got. Oh, the tyres are a bit naughty here. 58. I seem to remember 58 and a half, somewhere around there on the other car. Well, the tyres are a bit down, which will inflate all the tyres. Whoa, 58 and a half. That number was in my head. So it's exactly the same as Ruby. I think Ruby was in 4 mil.
Yeah.
For me and Ruby, I think we're all okay. Yeah, great, 58. Great for the 58. And have we got a 58? No, we've got an 88 on a 57. Let's rip out the wiring harness. We're nearly there, we're getting mucky, folks. It's really good inside here. Right, we've got to take the headlights out simply because side light bulbs aren't quite accessible with these auto power lights. You can't just get in and just slot your side lights out. They're sort of a little bit tight on the bulbs. But there's only 4 screws holding the backing plates, and it'd be easy to get to the wiring as well. So we're ripping out this whole horrible loom. It's done its job over the years. Note to self: disconnect battery to stop sparks. And well, I got some sparks going before, and Richard said, "It's not better to disconnect the battery." Yes, correct, mundo. Right, we're nearly there. We'll be right back. We're going to rewrap this loom. Lovely stuff. Servo has to be loosened to get the loom out. Loom's beginning to come out. What a mess it is, but we'll soon tidy that loom up. Be quite good fun tidying that loom. Won't take much. There are various cables and things added on. I'm going to add an extra feed down here for the horns. I didn't never like these air horns I've got. Well, not, yeah, it is air horns. Running straight off the stalk without a relay really. So I'll run a feed for the horns. This car never had, and also make it thick enough to take an electric fan feed as well. So that if we ever put electric fan kit on this, the feed is in the front. So we'll add a very juicy cable for that. Tapping in, soldered into the loom. There's also a couple of extra wires. Got an oil pressure switch wire which has to be incorporated into my existing loom. I think that's about it for extra cables. There's an element of immobilisation, but that doesn't get covered for obvious reasons. But extra wires have to be refitted into this harness instead of them tacked on the side like they have been done over the period since '92 when I had this car. We shall continue. Servo's just going to be loosened because it traps the wiring harness. The servo does, or at least the servo bracket. And to a degree the front of the servo traps the harness, so it's got to be slackened out. We'll do that, then get this harness on the deck and begin its restoration and rebuild. So GXL wiring harness then next, and also we've got a cam belt to do, springs as you just saw. We're all going to plan at Cortina City today. Get out with the camera. You know, we put a wheel on? Yeah. We're going to do a quick bit on. The brake lights don't work. So we don't cut it. One up. Don't go like a lunatic. No, don't just put me in up or something like that. You're going to watch it. I'll go on camera through, yeah? What a bunch of thugs!
fucking partners!
Someone's going to be out of it.
They are, aren't they?
Thomas is going to be, he's going to come out.
There's one in the back. He's going to be opposite.
Oh, he's going to be out.
It's fucking madness.
There's Ted there in pink shirt.
Yeah.
That's Ted. I don't want to buy who's going out with him.
Yeah.
Fucking, you can't see fuck all when it goes in that sunlight.
I bet it's not something down to these proportions. I might do it actually.
I'll go for another leisurely stroll. Hey? Go for a leisurely drive. It's a nice and easy sightseeing tour. That's laid in with a bit. Oh, thank you, darling.
What, in your car? Around the field? Going down the road.
I'll get arrested for that.